All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. So I thought to start off, we'd play a little game. So I'll be sharing my screen with you all. And there's a PIN number that you will be entering. So it's 534483. You'll see that on the screen. And there we go. So we got Sand Dog in there.
What my son's friends called me when they were teenagers. They still call me that actually when they see me. Paul, are you PJ?
I can't get the site to open up. I think we've got too much activity going on here.
So you don't want anything else in the address bar except kahoot.it.
Right, I got that and I'm on there, but it didn't open up to anything. I just got a plain white screen.
Huh.
We've been having some problems. Mark's on a conference call downstairs. We got a lot of stuff going here.
Okay.
Sometimes maybe I'll hotspot it. Maybe that'll work. It might be okay, Sarah.
Cindy, are you able to get in? And if not, you can still follow along.
I'll just watch for now. I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, anybody, so you can still watch. I will paste this into the chat if you do get on.
Okay.
And want to join.
I'm trying again.
So this is just a little game that I use with my students to do little quizzes. So as we go here, we just do 10 questions and just a fun little social media. What logo is this? So you'll be given a logo, and then you'll guess which one it is. And if I can turn off the sound, I will. Okay, so you would click on the answer, which you think is it. All right, so two of y'all got it. All right, so Marky Mark and Sandog just got points. The quicker you answer, the more points you get. But that is the play button for YouTube, the logo. This one's a little tricky. Okay, so it is Tumblr. You would think it might be T because of that. But Tumblr is a social media site that's really no longer used now that Instagram and others are involved. Okay, a little easier. Paul, are you able to figure out the answer, or are you just watching?
I clicked all the last three, but it doesn't seem to register.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, there it went.
I'm not sure.
No.
No, it's probably less to do with you and more to do with the program. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
All right, youth minister taking the lead here. Keeping his job security. The original person of this, I'm sorry, the original logo was called Peekaboo, but they changed the name to something else. The original was Peekaboo. Right.
With a scary name.
Still not sure why it's a ghost in my nose, but that's why Peekaboo. If you know the
Yeah.
original name, you understand why it might be look like a ghost.
Oh.
That one's pretty easy. Yep. Facebook.
You're welcome. I'm good. I just took a nap.
This logo's name is Larry,
But you know,
short for the basketball player, Larry Bird. Twitter with their tweets. This is one of the newer ones, used mainly for curating pictures and hobbies, do-it-yourself projects. That is Pinterest. This is popular for people who are listening to music, particularly with teenagers. All right, last two. This was bought by Microsoft several years ago and a rival to Zoom. So Skype. And finally, see if Sandy can catch Mark on this one. Instagram it is. All right. Now, we all know that Paul got more than 0. I'm not sure what happened.
I did as well, just so you know.
Yeah, it just wouldn't let me click on anything.
Yeah, I'm sorry that that happened.
That's okay.
This site can be a little buggy. So that is called Kahoot. As you see up here, you can curate your own little quiz programs. It's a fun little thing to do. Students can use it on their phone as well. And hopefully it won't be buggy like what you had. So I'm not seeing any questions from people. So I just wanted to give you all an overview. Start with the skeletal framework that I spoke with, or that I sent out earlier. and talk about that and see if you all have any questions. So right now, just let's see, share with you all the document, and I will share this with you all when it becomes after this. And make sure I got that. So essentially, what I find is helpful is dividing social media into different things. And when you think about social media, oftentimes it's basically driven by the people, and it allows for a more interactive approach. But the question then becomes is how do you interact, and what is the media you're interacting with? And there's certain medias that are more beneficial in certain ways. So we're going to look at those different ways we do that. So the first thing is GroupMe, which is over multiple platforms. GroupMe looks like this if you're looking in your browser. So on the left, you basically have a bunch of different chats, and these are one-on-one chats, and then you can have a group chat here. And this is what I use with my college students. Some of you, if you use this, a lot of families do this. So like, for instance, here, you can make it private. You don't know this family, so I'm not too worried about it. But this is pictures that this family of mine has shared, and it's a way that you can keep things private, both videos and others, to share, and particularly with minors, that's helpful for families versus a more public way on Facebook or other ones. You can do events in here, you can do different polls, but it's really nice for closed groups and communicating directly with students. And it's an alternative to directly texting them. So this is GroupMe. The other thing that's new here is up in the top right. They're both owned by Microsoft and Skype, as well as GroupMe. And so you have a video chat that you can use now as well that's integrated with GroupMe. Everybody can hear me okay, I'm presuming, and are there any questions? Yes, Linda.
Does that cost anything to join that?
No, everything that we do today is free.
Thank
And
you.
that means that you are the product. And so as far as them tracking you and you know, using your habits, particularly Facebook has the most data, more than probably even the government at this point. And that's particularly because there's advertisement. What's nice about GroupMe is that it's pretty much free. As far as I can tell, they're not really tracking what you're doing, and there's no advertising, which is helpful. Yes, Cindy.
Do you use it on your phone too, or just on?
Yes, and what's really nice about some of these, and particularly GroupMe, and one thing I really like about it is that I use it on my phone as well as computer. So
Right, but it looks different, I assume, on your phone. I mean,
it looks, yes, it looks different. So on the phone, you don't
is it an
necessarily
app or?
panes, but you would mainly just see this on the left, like a scroll. And then when you clicked on it, you would then move to this frame. But it looks very similar.
Okay.
So you can
Do you get it as an app on your phone?
Yes, you get that. You get an app on your phone for either Android or
iPhone.
Apple, and it works pretty seamlessly. That's what's nice too. I mean, if everyone has iPhones, then you can just use iMessage. But this is helpful for different phones, and it's also helpful for me for when I do longer posts. Let's see if I have one up here. But it's good for sending links. But every once in a while, like up here, I have like a whole thing that I'm sending. And so it's just easier to type that out versus thumb it out, so to speak.
So you can name it whatever you want then and use different, so people who have iPhones or don't have iPhones, you can still name it like with your
Yes.
iPhone. If you have people in a group, you can't name a group if they're not all Apple users.
Right, exactly. So this allows you to name the group no matter what they're using device.
Okay,
You can
cool.
see the members we have here, and you can manage the members. You can go to gallery and all the different pictures. There's an integrated calendar in here. It works mainly for upcoming events. There's polls. You can see what's the most popular posts here as well, and then change the settings, like if we want to change the logo or something. And that's what's also nice is to be able to change the logo. And each member can also change their profile picture. As you see here on the left, each student has chosen that. And the student who hasn't chosen one, it's just a default picture there.
And is it like a group? I'm sorry, a million questions. Is it like a group message though, that every time you send something, everybody gets it? Anybody
Yeah.
who sends a message, it goes to everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
If I'm in this top one, if I want to send one like just to Catherine, then I go down to just that message.
Okay.
You can also see, like if we go to our members here, I can, over each profile here, I can do a direct message. I can remove them. I can make them owner or an admin.
Okay.
And then this up here, the little bell thing just below my arrow says that she has alerts off. So she'll still get it, but it won't necessarily notify her. And that's really helpful for students who get overloaded. Some students will turn those on and off depending on, for instance, Anna Kerr is actually not, she's doing a co-op program this semester. So a lot of these messages aren't relevant for her, but assuming we're back in classes in the fall, she might turn that back on so that she's more up to date on that. And then you have current, and then you can also even look at some former members here as well. So it helps me track that. And then I'll probably create a new group next year so that previous groups can still, like people that have graduated can still communicate, but it keeps the list from getting too out of control. Any other questions about GroupMe? Okay. If you're working with international folks, WhatsApp is a really helpful tool. It's a separate app owned by Facebook, and it is basically good for sending multimedia messages. So you can do text, you can do video, and you can do pictures, just like GroupMe. But with WhatsApp, you don't necessarily have web access to that. I meant to double check that, but it's mainly used for your phone, and it's tied to your phone number. GroupMe can be tied to your phone number, but you can also tie it to an email as well. So you have two different options, whereas WhatsApp is by phone number. WhatsApp was really popular and still is for people who want to text internationally and not use like Facebook Messenger or something. What happens is that certain groups use different platforms. And so what happens for me is that GroupMe becomes my kind of work, except for that one friend who shares baby pictures or kid pictures. It's pretty much how I communicate with students. WhatsApp for me is how I communicate with my soccer friends. And then Facebook Messenger is just kind of a random assortment of people. So the disadvantage of having this is that some people prefer just doing text messages because it's always on your phone, it's in your text messages, and you know you're going to get notified. Whereas if you never open up the app and you have your settings off for notifications, then you might miss messages here and there. Any questions about group chats?
My only question, my family does WhatsApp. That's how we are on a group text all the time because we can send so much stuff so easily with it. The only advantage of GroupMe over that would be the web access, do you think? Or is there more advantage than that?
I would say it's web access, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you go to WhatsApp, you're not able to really, and I'll show you this with Instagram too. Although it does look like they have a WhatsApp. Mark, have you used WhatsApp?
I have.
And have you used it on the web?
Yeah, there's actually like I only use Mac, so I don't know. I imagine there is some kind of program for Windows.
There is. I forgot. There is, but the problem is you can't have it on your phone and your computer. You have to have it on one or the other.
Oh.
I
I
see
tried
that
this a
now.
couple weeks ago. I wanted to do it on, I was recording something and I just thought it'd be easier to record it on the computer, but it made me, I didn't end up going through with it, but it was going to kick me out of my phone and I'd have to reload it onto my phone to go back to my phone. So that's
So
the
you
difference.
can't switch back and forth.
Can't switch back and forth.
Okay.
Hmm.
No, I use that on my phone all the time to talk to my brother-in-law in London.
Yeah,
Yeah. So for international, it's really helpful.
great. But GroupMe, you can do both phone and web. I take it?
Yes.
They're integrated or they share, they sync or whatever.
Yes. They sync. So and then there's multiple ways that you can create an account. So you can use a phone number, email, Facebook account, whereas WhatsApp is tied to your phone. And then they do have a workaround, it looks like. But as you experienced, Sandy, it's not as seamless. And so you kind of have to stop using your phone to use the web and then go back to it. Somewhat cumbersome.
What I do like about WhatsApp is there's most of the family is iPhone, but there's a few of us that are Android, and it sees us all the same. Where some of the other texts, sometimes some people get dropped off of our, AT&T texting kind of thing.
Yes, yeah. So if you're not creating events, the other thing with GroupMe is that you've got polling, events, etc., that I don't think WhatsApp really offers. So I would say it's most convenient for texting, especially internationally.
Yeah.
Is how I would characterize those. Now, Facebook Messenger, you're probably familiar with. It's integrated on the web with Facebook. So if you click up here on Facebook, you've got all these different messages that you would get here. You can do you can create groups, and you can create a new message here as well. So it's nice on the web, I think, to communicate with different people, but then it's two separate apps on your phone. And so that's something to keep in mind. Any questions about the group chatting? Okay, so video chats you're probably familiar with. I'm not going to spend too much time on that because Zoom is something that we use and go into. There are some others, including BlueJeans and GoToMeeting. Has anyone used those other platforms?
Used GoToMeeting before.
Okay.
Not used
One that I forgot to put on here, but you can also use Skype as well. I find that FaceTime is kind of a nice difference, but it's only with other iPhone users. What's nice with FaceTime, like Zoom, is you can use it both on your phone and on your computer. And most of these abilities, they have cross platforms now. But yes, we're probably overloaded with video chatting right now, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Google Duo is a nice new one, so you might start see, since people in our email is integrated with Google, because Google is dominant in search and YouTube and everything, you might see Google Duo, see more of that.
What's different from Google Duo and Hangout? Google
What's the
Hangout.
difference?
Yeah.
I think Google Duo is basically more for 2 people. At least that's what it started out with, but now it can do conferencing. And it looks like Google tends to kind of experiment in different ways. And I think what we're seeing now is that Google Duo might start replacing Hangouts.
Okay.
But we'll see now. Right now, it seems primarily kind of their answer to Apple's FaceTime,
Okay.
as well as Zoom, at least on the phone. So if we look at video messaging, one thing that I want to, so video chats, I would say, are live. And then video messaging would be something that you can check you can check later. So that's how I would do the difference in that. A lot of teenagers, especially, will use Snapchat. And some people, particularly older folks like us, are like, why would you want something that's just going to disappear? And in a world where you grow up, where everything is saved and is permanently online, it's actually kind of a relief that something disappears. It also takes away the need for filters and making it look just perfect. I was looking at statistics, and about 2/3 of people edit their photos before posting them.
People use Snapchat filters all the time, though.
Yes. So what Snapchat has done is that, so there's filters, and originally filters meant you take a photo that looks okay and you like brighten the colors, and it's more like a photography. What Snapchat has done is done what's called live filters, where you can put like a dog ears on yourself and it will read your face and put glasses on your face. And so it's a little more silly, and it's a little more playful. And so I think Snapchat has really done a lot to do more in terms of those kind of filters. So more like video filtering rather than making a sunset look even more beautiful, if that makes sense. And by curation, I mean is because these disappear, you don't necessarily have a landing page that you go to, whereas on Instagram you do. So we'll go to Instagram in here in a second. But with Snapchat, it's only on the phone, and it's also what I would say quite private. So it can be hard to find people on there, and then there's privacy settings on Instagram and stuff, but Snapchat I would say is even more private. But that also, with privacy, also comes pornography and other things that happen on Snapchat because it disappears quickly. And when I say disappear, sometimes it's not even 24 hours. It's like if you don't read it within 10 seconds, or you only get to read it once, and then it's gone. And so it's very quick and kind of in the moment.
Unless you screenshot it.
Yes. Now, if you screenshot it, the user will know that you screenshot it.
But sometimes when you're an old mom and you really want to look at that picture, you have to, because then you can look at it for longer.
Yes. Now, one thing I'll say with both Snapchat and Instagram, if you have trouble viewing things that are disappearing, usually holding your finger on the screen will make the image either stop or hold it so that if it's a video, it'll repeat pretty quickly. So
that doesn't work for Snapchat though, does it? Or does it?
It can sometimes. It depends on what you're being sent. But
Okay.
one trick I use on Snapchat is if someone's sending me something and I'm trying to kind of save it without screenshotting, which is one way, is hold the finger and then the whole screen goes smaller. So if I'm holding my finger on here and the image is taking out the whole of my screen, it'll go smaller and there'll be a little blue arrow as if I'm going to share it, send it to someone else. So that's when I hold my finger down and I'm watching something, it'll kind of shrink. And then it kind of holds it, and then you can edit it or all. But what that allows me to do is then be able to see the photo without it going away.
Okay.
And if it's a video, then it'll repeat. And then you just sort of touch outside of that box, and then it goes away. So that's another little trick. Any other questions about Snapchat? Okay. So moving to Instagram, and Instagram has really taken over. Snapchat has gotten a lot more downloads since the quarantine. But with Instagram, you've got a curation. So you have your permanent photos here that can be viewed on the web. And all it is for anyone to see anyone on Instagram, if you know their handle is basically like their screen name. So for us, it's ukirkumish. You just do instagram.com/ukirkumish. And so if you have someone's handle, or basically their username, then you can visit them online. Unless their account is private, then you would have to follow them. But in this, you have your name up here. It says you how many posts, how many followers, how many people you're following, and then you've got an information here. These are called hashtags, and if you click on a hashtag, it will take you to all the different places that also have informed faith. So there's 16 other posts on Instagram, and what's nice about this is if you find a handle that you're using, then you can curate this, and you can also follow it. So now this becomes something that you might be notified on. For instance, the way I use this is in our Puerto Rico trip. So if we go to some of like our Puerto Rico photos here, this is a photo of our team. This is our handle, Michigan to Puerto Rico 2020. Kind of a complicated handle. I try to make it simple, but what's nice is that everybody else who posted photos to Instagram and used this handle, I got all their photos here as well. So these are photos that the different team members took of our trip to Puerto Rico. Any questions so far about that?
I have another question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Full of questions. Okay, maybe this is really stupid, but people like hashtag stuff all over. Like if you hashtag something on Facebook, it doesn't does it connect at all with this or not? Or only if you have your Instagram connected with your Facebook, or not
if
even?
you have your Instagram connected with your Facebook, that hashtag, so this hashtag will appear on Facebook. So if we were to go over to Facebook and you go up to the search bar, you do the hashtag, and then I've actually searched for it before.
Okay.
And you go here. What's confusing about Facebook is it's got so many different things
Mhm.
up here. So if you're on all, you've got all, but I would usually go to posts afterwards. And then in the timeline here, the feed, these are probably all things that were posted originally on Instagram, but that because they went to Facebook there. So I can search on Instagram, but they're connected, but you have to search each place
Okay.
on there. The other thing you can try is do a Google search, but that is going to give you all kinds of different things, and it'll be so it shows you on Facebook.
So if you put
brings up-
hashtag something on whatever, somebody else can search it by that?
Yes, anybody could search that. But what
Got it.
hashtags are best at is on the platform you're using.
Okay.
So they originally started by Twitter. and they've since now been used in across social media, but it only works within each social media platform. So if you're on Instagram, you have hashtags. If we went on Twitter, we would have different hashtags. I mean, we could use the same hashtag, but it'd be different posts linked to that, if that makes sense. So hashtags are only so good within the ecosystem you're in.
So Evans, I have a question, and you may have said this, and I'm sorry, I was off talking to my sister. I see you have Instagram on your computer. I always have it on my phone. I've never thought of putting it on my computer. Do they sync well with each other?
So it's they do sync well, but you cannot post on your computer.
Okay.
But thank you for bringing that up. So I can view everything just like I would be anywhere else, but I can view the stories. So well, let me get to that in just a second. So I can view everything, but I can't necessarily respond to everyone, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
The other thing that Instagram has instituted is something like Snapchat called Instagram Stories, and these can also be connected to Facebook now. And so when you click on, so if this has a thing going around it, like a highlighted thing, you can then click on this, and that story will show up. And this is actually posted from TikTok. See, Mark, did you see this yet? So this introduces you to TikTok, where people take music and do little dance videos to it. So this is someone doing Bible study, being tempted by Jesus and the devil, and choosing Jesus. Now, just like on my phone, if I touch it, I can freeze it. So something that happens is that people will post, but Instagram limits you from 10 to 15 seconds usually. And so some people will post long things, they're not sure. So if you press down on it, either on your phone, you just hold your finger there, that will freeze whatever you're doing. And then when you release and are no longer pushing down, it continues on. So what Instagram has done has combined some of Snapchat features with the stories. But what I like about Instagram is that you can then save these stories that would otherwise disappear. So everything up in this circle was within the last 24 hours. But down here, I have highlights. And so if we go here, this is a curated instant videos. And you can see there's a whole bunch of them up top here. And what it does is that you can do the order, and these are called highlights. And so these are highlights of our trip for Puerto Rico. And so people can go back and kind of see, and a lot of people do this for like traveling, but you can do this for different events. And so people can go back and see like all the photos and different things that would otherwise disappear after 24 hours. And you can curate this into your own little slideshow or video show.
So do you save, you can save your own stories is what you're saying?
Yes. So these are stories that I posted that disappeared after 24 hours after I posted them, but your account saves them. Snapchat does this too. They save it to your own account.
So they're stories, not just posts or whatever.
Right. So basically what they've done is they've combined the posts. So instead of it So down here, you have all these different posts that are done in order, and they're just kind of mixed. You know, you kind of see, okay, we were in Puerto Rico. Okay, we went bowling. Okay, we had the pancake supper. You can kind of see scrolling back in the timeline. But what's nice in the top here is that now you can go to different events. And so I can go into, I have to do this on my phone to create it, but I could go in and then create different events or different things. So people could go to this site and then play these past videos to kind of see, oh, what happened at like the all church picnic, or oh, what happened at this other thing, or oh, this person went to Belize. Like, let me look at all the different stories that were posted on Belize. Okay, any other questions about that? So for me, Instagram is kind of my go-to for posting and communicating, because I can post video messaging and stories. I can also do photos. I can even do videos as well. And so Instagram doesn't do everything the best, but I find overall, particularly with photos and videos and interacting with people, I can do that. It also has messages. I won't go into messages because some of them are private, but they also have a messaging feature up here. So you can message people directly as well.
So why is it why does it seem to be the go-to over Facebook for, it's like a younger people are like have migrated to Instagram from Facebook. You know, the Facebook is like the, I don't know. Why do you prefer it, I guess?
Mark might have some ideas. I would say is that people are interested in something that's not so overwhelming. If you go to Facebook, you got all these things up top: pages, marketplace, videos, photos. I'm in the search function here, but with all these different things, it is difficult to kind of find what you're looking for. And it's also not as appealing. It just feels more like a website. And people our generation and older, websites were a neat thing, that you could have all this information. Oh, you can click on it and it does something. For people younger than us, that's boring. That's baseline. And so they're looking for something that's not so overwhelming, I think, and kind of takes up the page, and then is also less businesslike and more fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say that a lot of our young people also think that older generations have kind of taken over that space, and then so that's another reason. One thing that I find a trend, I don't know, Evans, if you've seen this too, is like the popularity of what they call Finstas, which are like fake Instagram accounts. So they have their one that like people see and their parents follow, and then they have another one where they can be like more silly and just like their
Drunk.
yeah
Yeah.
their friends can see. And it's interesting. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yes, I think a lot of people younger than us really value their privacy because everything is online. I think we are gradually realizing that, oh, maybe I don't want everybody to know where I am or see what I'm doing or all those things. But I think from an early age, people who grew up with a smartphone, I think we're much more aware of that.
You don't think that younger people want to care? I feel like they don't care if everybody knows where they are. They let everybody follow them. They let know their location, and I feel like younger people are a lot more willing to put it out there and share everything. You don't think that's true?
It's an interesting dynamic. I think you're right. I think there's kind of flip-flopping going on. I think there's certain youth that don't care and it's just whatever. But I think there's others.
Calendars, they share
Mm-hmm.
everything.
And what they can do too is what Mark's saying is you can have two different accounts. You can have a public account where employers and others can people find you, your parents, and then you could have a private account where, you share other things, just with your friends. What's happening with, even within that too, is you can determine whether you share it to the world or just share it with your close friends. So there's different settings on social media as well for that.
So I have two questions.
Yes.
One is who owns Instagram? I mean, is it
Facebook.
Facebook? Okay.
Facebook bought WhatsApp and Instagram in the last couple
Okay.
of years.
Okay.
And so they own both, and we might see a further integration of all three of those platforms. But right now, they're separate.
Okay. And then, Mark, what is your Finstagram handle?
I don't have one.
Oh,
I don't actually post a lot, which is kind of bad, but yeah.
I follow a lot.
I find I like Twitter more than anything. But that's like a whole different thing, and yeah, I use it mostly to like get news and like other information.
Do you tweet though, or do you just?
I do, but not a lot. I'm not somebody. So that's another thing. I don't just like throw out. I'm not somebody who's like throwing out my opinions on things, or like I'm more like follow to like, and I like things, and sometimes I comment. Sometimes a lot of times I'll ask questions about certain things. Yeah, that's really.
So is Trump's overuse of Twitter turning younger people off of it? I mean, he's old or not? Sort of like how, everybody's parents are on Facebook, so I don't want to be on Facebook. So
I haven't seen a lot of young people. I don't know, Evans, have you seen a lot of young people jump on Twitter?
No, here's Twitter now that you can see. So you can visit Twitter, just twitter.com. It'll ask you to log in if you're not. I find Twitter is great for shouting at people. You've got a lot of people that want to do an opinion, but just like Facebook, the discussions quickly boil down. Positively, I think Twitter is best for news. And that's what Trump and other celebrities have done, is that this is a way they can communicate directly without the filter of the media, so to speak. So if you can get your followers, and what social media has done is, even though celebrities and famous people will have people curating and managing their brand, it's a way that they can communicate directly without advertisers, without media and other things, but they can say what they want directly to their followers. And their followers can also say something directly to them as well. So it kind of breaks down those barriers in some ways. And so for better or worse, that's what Twitter has become good for. And I think for breaking news, it can be kind of helpful. And then also commentary on the news. It's been, yeah. So I visit it a couple times a week. I have a notification list here that I basically visit. But otherwise, I try not to scroll or do anything else because it gets ugly fast.
Yeah.
It's great for sharing quotes and stuff too. So we're coming out of time here, but just to say that one other thing that I've kind of started using again that came out last couple years is called Marco Polo. This is if you want to record a message and send it directly to that person.
It's weird. It's very odd. You feel really weird doing it.
It is. That's on your phone.
Do they save for a long? I mean, how long do they save for?
I
Ever?
think they save in your account, and it's just your one-on-one. It's like text messages. They'll be there until you delete them, is my understanding. And if you want to save them to your phone, you can do that as well.
Okay.
But I'm not as familiar with that. But I've been kind of playing around with that because it's video only. There's nothing else kind of really going on. So it's kind of like, you leave voicemails for people. It's kind of like you're leaving video mails for people. I'm gonna copyright that word. Video mail. So video posting, YouTube I think is still king, although lots of videos appear on Facebook. Oh, I skipped photos. Photo posting. I would say Instagram is king of the photo posting. Video posting, I would say YouTube. YouTube has really become its own channel now, and so you can, any TV show, anything that pops on TV now has their own channels. But then you have content creators, influencers, who are people who are creating their own content and making their own channel of their videos. Andrew, created blog. Blog's still around. It's still great for mixed media posting. And what's nice about that is that you are the owner of the blog. It's not kind of mixed in with everything else. So you can blog on Facebook and other things, but then you're kind of competing with everybody else and you're seen along with everybody else. Whereas a blog is essentially your own website where you're making posts and can share not just your words, but also photos and video. And then the other thing too is, how do you let people know what you're doing? Email lists are still really key. And one of the things we continue to do and use things like MailChimp or ChurchPost and others is that people still have a mailbox and all. Facebook is a pretty decent way for those who are on Facebook. Of course, updating your website. And one thing with Twitter, for those that are on Twitter, because news can be an announcement like, hey, this is happening. Twitter can be a good place if you have followers there. What I find with our church community is that most members are on Facebook. And so that's why I haven't really pushed a lot of these other social media or used them much, is because because out of all the social media, I feel like Facebook is the one that most of our members use. And YouTube, any YouTube video can easily be posted on and notified via Facebook or linked in an email or website as we build up our YouTube catalog. I hope this has been helpful. Are there other questions or thoughts you have?
I had the question of what's the point of TikTok, but I think you answered it. Is it all music video? That's all it is you've got music that you're doing something with?
Yes. What's interesting about TikTok is that it used to be called Musical.ly, and it was bought out by a Chinese company. And Musical.ly was basically taking I would be here and there would be a song playing and I would be pantomiming it, or I'd be singing along. TikTok bought them, and then there's also been basically dance moves. So it's like you remember Macarena, when Al Gore was doing the Macarena?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's basically like that, but every day people are creating their own Macarenas and their own dance moves and then sharing them. And it kind of becomes like a challenge, or hey, I just did this little thing with my body to this music, and now I'm sending it. But they're little snippets. So they're
that's what we need. Instead of a variety show, we need to do First Press TikTok.
But so you do it on TikTok and then you share it at wherever you want, or how's that work? I mean, I know Kayla's doing it on TikTok, but you find it on Facebook. So how does that work?
Yes. So you create it on TikTok, and then you can share it on other platforms. What TikTok does really well is that they've curated a whole bunch of little snippets of pop music. So you can search your favorite song, and it doesn't have to be recent. You can do Eagles or Beatles or something. And they've got the little clip. And I think because they're a Chinese company, they don't care as much about the copyright, because if you take that same clip and put it on Instagram, and Instagram now has that feature where when you're posting a story, you can search for music. So they also have a TikTok feature, but their catalog is not as great or robust because they follow more of the copyright laws. But one of the ways they get around it is using under 30 seconds. Even though that doesn't get you around the copyright, but you're not full blown copying the song. But yes, TikToks are basically taking those little snippets, and then someone does a dance move, and then people just follow it because they think it's cool. Dance is still universal, pop is still universal, and it's just basically they've taken something that's not that new, but they've just streamlined it and made it a very friendly user interface. And in most places, if you go on TikTok, most places you have to do the scrolling, but TikTok automatically goes to the next video. So it's that much more addictive in terms of like you can just be on it and just go, go, go. I have a TikTok, Pop Song Pastor. I have not really posted a bunch, but I'm slowly getting into it. They had 380 million downloads last quarter, the most of any app ever. They've had 2 billion downloads total. So
Wow.
it continues. And I think I think it's going to peak here, but it's certainly something under quarantine that people can do little dance moves in their home and then share it. And it's funny.
And I've also seen like a lot that aren't music like centered too.
Yeah. What others have you seen?
So there was a funny one. Have you seen the movie Ratatouille?
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy who's like, he made a video of his dad transforming into that character because he's like, I swear my dad looks like, I don't remember how he set up the video, but it's basically just like a shot of him slowly changing into that character, and it's hilarious.
So we could do the TikTok instead of the other variety show. And after each of us does it, Paul comes in with his limerick about us.
Yes.
I think
It's like that one with isn't the dinosaur dad a TikTok too? Where the kids say something, so he turns into a dinosaur.
yes. I think limericks could find life on TikTok. I think that would be funny. Yes, TikTok does a lot of like switcheroos too. Like you think something's going one way, and then they do video cuts, and then so like you become a rat or you become a dinosaur. So yes, there's a lot of like fun little video editing things that you can do as well.
Sounds like fun. Hey, I've got to run. Thank you so
Yes.
much. I've learned a lot. I appreciate it. Nice to see everybody. Cheers.
Thank you all. Hope you enjoyed your
Salud.
beverage and all.
Oh, yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Glad we could do this. Feel free to contact me in anything else. And if you have ideas or you want to do your own little fun happy hour, I invite you to do that as well.
All right. Good night.
All right. See you all.